Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probatemastery.com. If you guys saw the email that I sent out earlier, we're going to change things up a bit today. So what I want to do today is kind of show a new partnership program that is available for anyone that's interested. Not everyone is going to be interested. I want to show you basically how I personally run my business personally. I will show you how you guys can run a business very, very similar to mine, or give you different alternate variations on how you can run a probate business. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into kind of a slide share. And because I had a hard time fitting everything onto traditional slides, these are going to be kind of vertical formatted. So hopefully you guys are able to see the screen without a whole lot of trouble. But basically what I want to do today is just sort of start by showing you guys how there's really three main paths to running a probate business. So there's three different paths. There's really two. The third path is going to be what I talked to you guys about today, and it's a partnership program. And before I really get too far into it, we have several of our Probate Mastery alumni here on this call that have agreed and come on staff as we've been setting this up, have agreed to be success managers in this. Essentially, they are partners with our partners in their markets. So Cedric, Lou, Latanya, Matthew, I don't see Matthew, Justin, we've got several actual agents and folks that have been through Probate Mastery, have been coaching, have been role playing, have been doing all the right things in their businesses that are actually coming on board with us to help run this program with anyone who's interested in being a partner. I do not want people to think that they have to be a partner, though. You guys can have plenty of success on your own without partnership. Last thing I want anyone thinking is that we're dropping in and competing in your markets and going to take away market share. There's tons of market share available in most of your areas. And partners are going to get a little bit. And if you do the right things and you follow the path that we lay out here, you're going to get your share, even if you're not a partner. Okay, so two paths, two different ways that most people run their business. And the first is going to be the kind of do-it-yourself. I don't have a lot of financial budget, but I have plenty of time available. Okay, so path one, I want you guys to know that this is for those that don't have much capital to invest in the probate business, but you have time, and you can get really good results. And this path normally ends up costing you somewhere between $1 and $5 per lead that you have in your system. So why $1? $1 because at the very least, you've got to send people that you've had a conversation with a note card. At the very least, you have to skip trace leads and find out accurate phone numbers to be able to call. So there's sort of some minimal things that you need to be able to do to get accurate contact data and communication going with a lead. So this path one, if you're going to spend $1 per lead, let's say you're in a market that averages 100 probate filings a month, and you're going to the courthouse and you're pulling your probate filings yourself, you still need to be able to skip trace and get phone numbers for them. You still need to be able to carry a cell phone to be able to make some calls. When you've had conversations, you still need to be able to put a stamp on a note card and send it out after that conversation. So that's what $1 a lead might look like. $5 a lead is where you're potentially buying leads from a data source. You might carry a cheap dialer, something like Line2 or JustCall.io. You're not going all out. You're still spending a lot of time, but and you're keeping your budget relatively small. A lot of people, as they begin to scale their business, they increase the amount of money that they're going to spend on their leads in order to remove themselves from the more time heavy parts of the process. So this is what I've done in my business, mostly because I'm doing this with you guys all day. I'm running coaching calls and I'm creating videos and things like that. I personally don't have a lot of time to spend with anyone that's not a really, really hot prospect. So to remove myself from a bottleneck position where I have to be the one making the calls, I have to be the one sending letters, I have to be the one nurturing leads, have to be the one doing everything. I spend money to replace myself, and I'm really only spending time with the hottest prospects and appointments. Okay. So path number two, most people, when they get to this point, they're buying leads. They have an ISA that's making calls or a VA that's making calls for them. They have automated letters going out. They're sending packages and emails out to the people that they've already engaged to nurture leads. They have people on staff. They have CRMs and dialers and all these different things. So you can add a lot of financial complexity into your business that can make a huge difference in your business. It can really, really make a difference. But the bottom line is people that spend more money are normally going to spend money to replace themselves and make sure that they're really only spending their time doing the highest value activities. Path number three is my version of this path for those that go systems heavy and spend money to kind of remove yourself from the complicated parts of the process. This is my version of it. So I spend $35 per lead in my market to work leads. So I'm not doing my own cold calls. I'm actually not doing most of my own nurture calls until the lead is very, very hot. I'm not sending my own mailers out, even though mailers are going. I'm not sending my own packages out, even though packages are going. I have team members that are doing all this, and it costs me $35 per lead. So in a market with 100 leads, might cost $3,500. Again, I started by telling you guys, you do not have to run a system like this. Some people are going to want to be more budget conscious. Other people like myself, I just want to work with hot prospects that are ready to go, and I'm willing to spend money to get them to that point. So $35 a lead. What's the time requirement in these different paths? So in these different paths, the majority of folks that are working and really going to make a difference with probate on path number one, where you're spending more of your time and less of your money, you're probably going to put between 40 and 60 hours per month into generating business for yourself. And I'm not talking about the appointments. I'm talking about lead collection, attorney prospecting, building your team, cold calls, mailers, different things like that. You're probably going to spend between 40 and 60 hours per month generating business for yourself in probate. So it's a solid, at least a quarter of your time is going to be spent on creating business for yourself. As you begin to add systems and spend money to replace your personal time, your time will generally go down. So the majority of people that build out their own systems normally spend somewhere between 25 and 35 hours a month creating business for themselves. So they're doing a lot of their own follow-up and things like that. But at least they have cold calls that are happening. Their mail systems are running on autopilot. They're not really having to do a whole lot there. With our team, most of our partners are running around 10 to 15 hours per month on their business. So 10 to 15 hours a month is what the majority of partners get to. And this 10 to 15 hours would be meeting with the hottest prospects, having conversations with those that have already been engaged and already asked for information, already stated an intent to sell real estate. Okay. Time to revenue is really important. On all three plans, you're pretty consistently 5 to 7 months away from making predictable and consistent revenue. So we all know that sometimes you could get a lead today, make a call today, have an appointment tomorrow, and the person says, hey, I want to give this house away, make me an offer, and you could wholesale that offer and get paid in a week. I know that some of you guys are a week away from getting deals or 2 weeks away from getting paid in probate. That's an outlier though. It does happen. most of the time to get to any sort of predictability and consistency in revenue and probate, you're between 5 and 7 months from that consistent, predictable revenue. So if you pick up a lead file today, in 5 to 7 months, you should predictably have your first deals. Okay. Could it be faster? Yes. Could it be a little slower? Maybe, but unlikely. I think you're 5 to 7 months if you do the right things. Okay. And that's on all three of these plans. It doesn't matter how much money you spend, how much time you spend, you're 5 to 7 months because you can't force people to sell faster than they're willing to. All right. And by the way, guys, if anyone has any questions, throw your hands up. This is, I do still want this to have a coaching component to it if you all have questions. So conversion rates on the different paths. Most people that are time heavy, they don't spend much money on their business, but they're time heavy. And if they're putting this time into prospecting and creating conversations and relationships, you're conservatively going to get 1 or 2% out of any given list that you have to do deals with you. So how much business is available in the probate space? It's normally 30 to 35% of any list is going to end up selling a house in the near future. So between 30 and 35% of any probate list is going to have a house that's going to sell in the near future. And some markets, it could be 25%. Other markets, it might be 40 or 50. But so I say 30, 35% is normal. For you to grab 1 or 2% and get a deal or two every single month, that's life-changing for a lot of people. And you're not even really scratching the surface yet. Okay, it can still be life-changing. This is one of the reasons why I don't worry a whole lot about competition. I could have 4 other people in my market doing the same thing as me, and they're going to get their 1 or 2 or 3 or 4%. I'll get my 3 or 4%. Okay, so I don't want you guys to get like too bogged down thinking, what if somebody else is in my market doing this? Bottom line is 1 to 2% of any lead list should be converted into deals if you're doing the right things yourself in path 1, and that's spending time, not money, on the business. As you begin to spend money in your business, you're generally going to increase your conversion rate. I know people that are getting 6 and 7% conversion rate with systems that they have here. And I've coached on these things and helped people get to 6 and 7% conversion rate out of their leads. The majority of folks that build systems and they start adding mailers and they start adding ISAs to do cold calls and things like that, the majority of people are still converting 2 to 3% of any given list into a deal for themselves. So you get 100 leads, there's 2 to 3 deals in there for you as you begin adding systems into your business. We are, and this is relatively new and heavily based on coaching that I've done with other people. We're seeing a lot of people that add a system like I'm proposing today that are hitting between 3 and 5% conversion rate on their leads. So you get 100 leads, there's 3 to 5 deals in those 100 leads that we find with you and help you close, help you convert. Could it be higher? Yeah, I have people that have used a system like this that are at 7 or 8%. Okay, but generally speaking, 3 to 5% is pretty normal for a system like I'll show you today. So over here, you're collecting your own leads, you're doing your own skip tracing, you're managing your own initial outbound dialing, cold calling, and you're handling your own follow-up manually. No problem. Guys, it's not that hard to do this. You can do all these things with about a quarter of your time and get deals. You can get deals. And I encourage you, if budget is a concern, go get deals. Do it this way. And I'm here to help you do that. If you want to build systems, you're going to end up purchasing your leads. You're probably going to hire an ISA to do cold calling with you. You're going to outsource your mailing campaigns. And then you personally are normally going to maintain control of the follow-up and lead nurturing yourself normally. In my system, I actually have other people that are handling the lead follow-up and nurturing for me and with me. Okay, so over here, if you, for anyone that wants to do partnership, I buy the leads, I hire and manage the ISAs, I handle the mailing campaigns, And then essentially I'm trying to hand you the highest quality and qualified leads or appointments. It's not always an appointment. Normally it's still a lead that needs to be nurtured, but they are highly qualified. They've received all the resources that they need. If you want to add a note card, great, be my guest. But we're sending them resources packages. We're sending them emails. We've done multiple stages of phone interaction with them. They're pretty dialed in. Okay. So path one is best for the person that's budget friendly and has the time to put into building their business. Path two is for the team or the person that doesn't really have a whole lot of time, but they've been successful and they're going to just spend money to kind of remove themselves from the lower level activities. And path three is for someone that just wants to plug in to something that we're already doing. And we've been building this out for about 3 or 4 months now. So we've kind of got our process dialed in at this point. By the way, guys, if you don't know, this is our official launch. We've soft launched it now for a couple of months. Been sort of teasing this and brought some partners on for the last couple of months. Today is our first official announcement that pretty much all markets are open. So what I want to talk to you guys about now, and again, reminder, anyone that has any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. Lou, I'll come to you in just a second. What I want to talk to you is how you can avoid overwhelm. So bottom line is a lot of agents get confused because there's 4 main systems that you need to set up and run in probate to be successful. And where people kind of fail, agents and investors typically fail, is just because they get overwhelmed and they don't know where to start. They have these choices and they go, I don't know which choice to make. So the choices on leads and data are, do you buy your leads or do you go to the courthouse and collect your leads personally? Do you go directly to executors and family members, or do you go to vendors like attorneys and estate sale companies and ask for referrals? Which one do I do? What do I center my business on? Prospecting. Do you call for low-hanging fruit? So are you calling the person that has an empty house and the personal representative lives out of state? That's low-hanging fruit. They're going to sell fastest. Or do I call and nurture the surviving spouses who are likely at 12 to 18 months away from selling? Who do I go after? Do I scrub my list down? Do I not scrub my list is basically the question. Do you go aggressive with your calling? So we call between 15 and 20 times in the first month. If someone's on our lead list, 15 to 20 times. That's a lot of calling. Or do you go a little bit more slow and steady? The difference is, am I willing to make someone mad that doesn't want to be gotten a hold of? Okay. Do I want to go a little bit more slow and steady? There are no wrong answers with these choices that you have. Okay. Do I do the outbound calling myself or do I hire team members to do that? What do I do with networking? Do I send attorney mailers? Do I do attorney cold calling? Do I go to attorney networking events like people like Bill Gross and David Pinnell do? Do I control my own networking groups or do I join existing organizations? So this would be things like BNI types of groups. Marketing, do I mail first or do I call first? Do I do really heavy cold mail or do I do really light cold mail? All of these choices that you have frequently lead people to get overwhelmed, and they see all these choices and they just get frozen. And what I want you guys to know is that you should not get frozen thinking that you're making the wrong decision on any of these. If you make the wrong decision on one of these aspects, just change it. Guess what? Right now, I do really, really, really light cold mail. I only cold mail people that have not engaged with us on the phone during the first month, and I only do 1 month of cold mail. That's really light cold mail. In the past, successfully, I've done really heavy cold mail campaigns where I was running 11 and 12 mail pieces during a 3 to 4 month window to people in the probate space successfully. It stopped working as well in my market, so I made an adjustment. The difference between me and someone that struggles in probate is when something wasn't working the way I wanted, I made a change. So if you guys do pick a path with these choices, I want you to pick it, implement it, run with it, and if something isn't working, make an adjustment. Don't look at these and go, look at all these choices I have to make. I'm not going to make any because what if I do it wrong? What if you do it wrong? You just make a change. But the bottom line is these are all the things that you need to answer for yourself. And you could legitimately flip a coin on any of these and have a good plan. So you could flip a coin. You could say, hey, am I going to go to the courthouse and personally collect, or am I going to buy my leads and spend $3, $4, $5 per lead? Flip a coin. Oh, guess what? I'm going to go to the courthouse and collect my own leads. Great. Go for it. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Am I going to go to the executors, really heavy to the executors on my list, or am I going to call the attorneys on my list? Probably both. But while you're setting things up, flip a coin. Who are you going to go after? There is not a wrong answer. And I'm just here to kind of encourage you to not get overwhelmed with all the different choices that you have on the path. You just make a decision and you go with it until you realize I need to change the decision that I've made. Maybe this isn't working the way that I wanted it to. You can always take a step back and make a change, do the other one. But if you're going to do this yourself, I want you guys to pick a path. And each one of these choices that you have, you need to make a decision on every single one of these. So you need to make a decision on where you're going to get your leads. Just make a decision. There's no right or wrong answer. Just make a decision and implement it. Are you going to go after the executors, or are you going to go after your vendors like your attorneys? Personally, I think you ought to go after executors first. But it doesn't really matter who you target more heavily, vendors or executors. It doesn't matter. Just pick a path. Am I going to call for low-hanging fruit, the out-of-state executors that have where the real estate is vacant? That's always great. You should always do those first. But are you going to scrub out your surviving spouses, or are you going to leave those in and actually pursue them as well? Just pick a path. I do everybody. I go after everybody. Okay. That's just the path that I've selected. So each one of these things are decisions that you need to make in your business, and do not be afraid of making the wrong decision. Okay. Before I go any further, I'm going to ask Lou. I think that there was a question that you must have popped your hand up a little bit ago for a question. Is that right?
Yeah, from John.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I use my own ATL leads. I take it you have your own system, or could you use my existing data?
Yeah, when we partner with people, we can use your data. I like buying the data for you. It just streamlines the process a little bit, where we don't have to keep track of when leads are coming in, keep track of a bunch of different logins and things like that. But some people want to keep control of their own data, and we can absolutely plug into your data and actually give you credit for what you've spent. I prefer to do it myself, but that's not going to be a deal breaker with us. We have a number of people that are getting their own data, and we just log in to their system. All right. So the truth is, a lot of people just get stuck. There are many combinations of all of these tactics that you guys can do. You could build a business 1,000 different ways. I just don't want people getting overwhelmed with the different ways and getting stuck out of too many choices, choice overload. So just make a choice, or you could kind of plug into the system that we have. And again, this is not meant to be necessarily a heavy sales pitch today. It's kind of to show you guys what our partnership plan looks like, and then give you a way that you can either build it yourself, you can pick a different path altogether successfully, or you could plug in with what we have going on. All right. So this is the way that we kind of run our business. Anytime, and this is the way that I would tackle my business, and the way that I did tackle building it, is during the first 2 to 3 weeks, I had to set up and start to implement a plan. So it took me a couple of months actually to set up and implement our plan. But during generally 2 to 3 weeks is kind of your implementation time. So what are you going to do normally in the first couple of weeks? And this is especially true if you're a partner with us. If you kind of build the system out yourself, it might take you twice the amount of time to build out your systems. But during the first couple of weeks, first thing I'm going to do is order leads. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I don't know how long it's going to take to get leads. Every county has slightly different delivery time frame, but I'm normally going to order leads. They're often 2, 3, 4 weeks away from landing in my inbox after I've put an order in. After that, I onboard folks into our team. I put them into a CRM. So you guys need a CRM, some kind of a way to manage your pipeline. I'm not talking about a way to manage your raw data list. I'm talking about managing your pipeline. So what is a pipeline? It's someone that's been engaged with. It's someone that has acknowledged verbally that they are the representative and that they that they answer the phone, and that at minimum we can send them resources. That's the bottom line. At minimum, yes, you can send me resources that will help me through probate. Is that a hot lead? No. But it's lukewarm. It's a lot better than someone that never answers the phone, that you don't know if you have the right number, or you don't know anything about them, and that or is hostile. It's a lot better than that. So at minimum, I want leads that go into my pipeline to have kind of met those minimum criteria, and I can follow up with them if we haven't gotten a lot further. So first couple of weeks, we put people into our pipeline CRM, and we get them loaded into our weekly coaching call schedule. So weekly coaching schedule, this is what some of you guys are already plugged into, and I'm going to drop my screen share down really quickly and show you what the weekly coaching schedule is. So this is the weekly coaching schedule for anyone that is either in coaching or a partner, either one. So I have people on this call that are in coaching, and they get access to this. I have people on this call that are partners that get access to this. So our coaching schedule is insanely heavy. It's not mandatory, and it's very role play intensive. So when we show up, every coaching call has a specific topic that we're covering, and there will be a little bit of training and a whole lot of practice. A little bit of training, whole lot of practice. I normally start by running through a specific technique or strategy that we're going to try to work on that day. And then one by one, anyone in coaching, they jump into role play and they try to practice their conversations using that technique or strategy. We get to a point after a couple of minutes where we stop and we train on specific adjustments that the person that was just in the hot seat doing the role play can hear, but everybody else can hear and make their own adjustments as well. So we have multiple sessions every week that are cold call focused. We have multiple sessions every week that are lead nurturing and follow-up focused with people that have already been engaged with. We always have at least one session per week where we're dealing with objections, interruptions, and random questions that people throw at you that are on the phone. And not everything's an objection. Sometimes it's just a question that someone might ask that really derails what you wanted to say on the phone. Anybody that's ever done a cold call before in the probate space knows that when someone goes, whoa, hold on, I don't understand. Who are you with? It's not necessarily an objection. They're not necessarily trying to interrupt you, but it can really derail the conversation. So we have times where we're specifically practicing how to get around interruptions, questions, objections, things like that. Again, here we're doing more lead nurturing, more cold call. We do attorney prospecting sessions every single week, at least one, sometimes two, where we practice our attorney interactions. We run appointment strategy, role play, and training. So this is where we're actually practicing our appointments, whether you're an investor or an agent, and again, more objections. So these are kind of the common themes that we hit every single week. And the majority of them are less lecture and more, let's say 10 minutes of lecture and 50 minutes of practice. All right, so that's what the coaching looks like for folks that are in coaching. So then during the next couple of weeks, we're going to recruit, train, test ISAs in your market. So up until now, I still have a bunch of ISAs that I've worked with in the past. I let go of a lot of ISAs that weren't performing very well. I kind of kept some of the better ISAs, and then what I do with partners is during your first month, we will put 2 or 3 ISAs in your market and see who performs best, and that they're going to be the ISA that serves your market after the first month. So we recruit, train, test ISAs, and then we start moving our leads through the system during that first couple of weeks. We're going to add you as an operating partner with Estate Aid Network. That's the company that we've set up. So when we call, we're not calling for Eric at Keller Williams. We're not calling for Bruce at LPT Realty. We're not calling for Probate Mastery. We are calling from Estate Aid Network. And what we do is we provide resources and guidance, almost like a concierge service, that help with different aspects of the probate process. So that's almost verbatim what we say when we call. Now that's kind of generic. The call has to progress from there, but that's the thing. And what we do is we set you up, any partners up, as a partner with Estate Aid Network. So when you're having interaction with leads, you're saying, hey, I operate the San Diego area. The Estate Aid Network here in the San Diego area. I'm the operating manager for this area. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. Okay, that would be an example of what you might say. And then when real estate comes up, you go, I actually wear 2 hats. In addition to operating the Estate Aid Network here in X market, I also own a brokerage, or I'm also on a real estate team, or I'm also a realtor, and I can help with the real estate needs as well. But when you lead in as a probate advisor, operating the Estate Aid Network in your market. And that's how I would run my own business as well. I would create a business that was not specifically a real estate business and be able to help people through the probate process. And then when real estate comes up, you share with them that you wear 2 hats. In addition to helping through the probate process, I also help with real estate. Go for it, Lou.
Yeah, we have a question from Kate.
Yeah.
Will we be able to end the mentorship or partnership at some point and have all systems still in place?
I will get to that here in just a second. Just a second. All right, good question. It's one that I assume most people would ask. Okay, so during this time, we're going to scrub and build call lists for the ISA team as well. So essentially what we do is we take all the leads, we scrub out anyone without real estate, we put people into 2 categories. We put one category of leads that the personal representative lives somewhere else. So the real estate is owned, but the personal representative doesn't live in the real estate. That's a high likelihood of selling. We move those to the front of the month and spend most of our time calling them. Once we've gotten through them 15 to 20 times and probably engaged with 50-60% of them on the phone, then we're going to shift the last part of the month toward families or estates where the decedent and the executor lived together. Most likely a surviving spouse, very likely to sell. It's just going to take them much longer. So we focus on the low-hanging fruit first, and then at the end of the month, we focus on the surviving spouses. So that's how we build our call list. And then we send resources packages out after that. And I should have, let's see if I did. Yep. I don't. I should have a resources package example to be able to hold up. I've got a 20-page book with 6 or 7 pages that are personalized and custom to your business, but it's 20 pages covering the ins and outs of everything in probate, everything from managing assets, selling cars, selling houses, getting cash offers, listing a house, running an ad in the newspaper or notice to creditors in the newspaper, hiring an attorney. Literally everything that they might face, we send them in resources packages after we've created engagement. So we spend the first month or so setting that up in your market. Beginning in month 2, this says week 3 and 4. This is really beginning in month 2. This is when we hit the ground running. So you continue coaching. I want to make sure that when leads are handed off, you are good at engaging with them on the phone. So we are actually going to test you multiple times to make sure that you can effectively engage with leads that have been handed off. So if you call and you don't know what to say, we got a problem. So I want to make sure that by the time your market is fully live, that you're really good on the phone. So you guys can come to these coaching calls for as many as you want, for as long as you want, and know that it's role play oriented. All right. Your ISAs are going to start hitting your list really, really hard at this point. Again, everyone on your list gets called 15 to 20 times during the first month. We're getting engagement of 40% minimum. Generally, 60% of our lead list is answering with our call approach, which for those that have done cold calls, 60% is insanely high. Insanely high. We don't get that in call number 1. We get 10% maybe in call number 1, but when someone sees us 15, 20 times, we'll get a lot of them on the phone. You and your success manager are then going to begin nurturing and marketing to your pipeline lead. So I'm going to do most of the marketing for you, most of the resources packages for you, letters for you. You might want to do a few of your own just to kind of personalize things a bit. But it's you and your success manager. So success managers are my typically licensed folks. Lou isn't licensed real estate agent, but he's was a licensed lender. I've got Matthew and Latanya and Cedric have all been licensed realtors. They've all been in coaching. They actually work the leads with you to help nurture and have higher level conversations alongside you. So they're an extension of your team. Okay, so you guys begin very aggressively working those pipeline leads. Going to start sending the resources packages out. So starting in month 2, what I want you guys to expect here is normally out of a full lead list, between 20 and 30% of your lead list gets moved into your pipeline. So if we have 100 people on a lead list and there's 65 that have real estate, 20 to 30%, 20 on the low end, 30% generally fairly normal. 30% of those 65 are going to get moved into your pipeline as people that you need to talk to, have a probability or a likelihood of selling the real estate, and they've accepted the resources package. They've engaged with us on the phone. They're going to be someone that you need to talk to. Leads that have not engaged, I send 5 mailers out. I do this starting in month 3. I give them a break. We've been hyper aggressive during the first month. If they've just never answered the phone, I give them a month without having to hear from me over and over and over again. And then I do 5 mailers in month 3 to try to get some engagement. So I want you and your success managers to, at minimum, re-engage and have high-level interactions with at least half of your leads in your pipeline, at least half. And this is what's happening. I'm seeing this in several different markets. About 10% of your pipeline leads typically convert to appointments very quickly. They're your low-hanging fruit. They vocally say, yes, we're selling a house, and I teach you how to move those into appointments. 10% should be a minimum conversion into an appointment quickly. That appointment does not always result in a listing or a signed contract today, but if you can be first in the house, first to meet with them, you're likely going to get that deal. All right. And again, so for Kate, I will hit the can you do this for a little bit and then build the system and keep the system? I'll hit that question in a few minutes. The answer, just the teaser, the short answer is yes. The long answer, a little bit more complicated than that, but the short answer is yes. So here's the economics of kind of the partnership. Is it cost me $35 per lead to run my system. Again, the system is set up to eliminate partners from having to do much of anything until a lead is really primed for a conversation. It doesn't mean they're all going to be primed for re-engagement. That's where 50% kind of drop off. But if you can get 50% re-engaged, that's a good ratio. So it cost me $35 per lead in my market to be able to do this. I am going to spend 10 to 15 hours per month working my business. So 10 to 15, that does not count appointments. Okay, so if you're on appointments or you're managing your listing, that's extra. But 10 to 15 hours per month engaged in my business, kind of creating those deals. Revenue split. And this is kind of during the first 6 months. During the first 6 months, I cannot do this at scale without covering the operating cost. So I'm not looking to make profit on the operating cost by being your partner, but I am looking for 6 months before deals start to flow in. I do need to cover operating cost. So first 6 months, I'm having you guys actually pick the number of leads that you want to work. You spend the $35 per lead for me to run the system on those leads, and then my profit happens personally at 35% of the deals that we create together on those leads. So you guys keep 65, I keep 35 as your partner. So this is based on the average number of probate filings. It's not the after scrubbed down. So let's say your market has 100 leads, it would be $3,500. After we scrub those, we're probably going to be pursuing 60, 70, 75, depends on the market that we know have real estate. All right. The time that you spend working the business, at least 1/3 of that, at least 1/3 needs to be coaching and role play. Some people do 2/3 coaching and role play. So I want you guys in. The better you can get at your interactions and conversations on the back end, the more likely it is that you're going to get good deals out of your pipeline. So at least 1/3 needs to be spent coaching and role play. The $35 is essentially just dedicated to covering the cost of running the program. So I've got a little thing down here that says that your split can be 80-20. So after 6 months, you do have an option of taking your revenue share with me down to 20%. I'll share more about that on the next slide. So your ramp up period is 5 to 7 months. That's how long it takes to get into predictable closings. So let's say we know that there's 100 leads, and I'm very confident if you have the right skill and we've got the system running in your market, I'm really confident that we'll find you at least 3 deals out of that list of 100. Doesn't mean that 3 deals are all coming at month 6. We might get one of those at month 6, one of those at month 9, one of those at month 12. So it could take 12 months to really see your full 3 deals a month kind of flowing in. But around month 6, it should be pretty consistent at a deal a month if you have enough leads. So that's what it takes. If anyone's doing partnership, I do want you to be prepared to be able to cover costs for that ramp up period. If your budget is really tight and you just can't swing $35 a lead for 6 months, I would encourage you to go through Probate Mastery, even jump in coaching and kind of learn how to build certain things yourself, or at least do it without having to spend much money. But for those that are willing to and interested in spending money to replace their time, please do be prepared for a 6-month ramp up period before you're getting big returns back. So this is kind of a cash flow example of what you guys can expect. So let's assume 100 raw leads. Not everyone's going to have 100 raw leads. That's just average. It's easy math. It's the average number of leads that most of our partners are working at this point. And let's assume that your average revenue per closing is $12,000. Some of you guys are in really high priced markets. If you're in a really low price market, partnership might not make sense. Okay. But if you're in a market where your average deal is $12,000 to you, this is what the numbers would look like. And that $12,000 is normally with the way that I coach people to do their listing appointments. That $12,000 normally comes at a $350,000 property. So I usually list at 3.5 or 4% to me. And that's normally what I coach to, is you guys will be getting 3.5 or 4%. So if you're at $12,000 per deal, 100 raw leads would cost $3,500 a month. You can expect 3 or 4 closings out of that. It could be more. Conservatively, 3. Probably going to be 4, maybe 5. Some people will exceed that and be even better. That if you're at 3 deals a month, that would be $1,166 is how much it costs to generate a listing. And I'm saying listings, this is also applicable to investors. About $1,166 is how much it would cost to generate a deal in this system. Net revenue, assuming you're doing 3 deals, net revenue during leads that are created during your first 6 months is going to be $19,900 if you average $12,000 commission or revenue on your deals. Okay, and you're doing 3. All right. If you bump your closings up to 4, your per deal cost drops to $875 and your revenue jumps to $27.7. And all this is based on $35 a lead and a 65-35 split. Now, after 6 months, partners that stay beyond 6 months, they've made it through the ramp up period. You guys are going to have a choice. Your choice is, do I cut my operating cost almost in half and essentially let Bruce carry a chunk of the cost and I'll carry a chunk of the cost? We're almost splitting it. Or do I keep paying all the operating costs? So if you choose to take your operating cost down to $20, I know we've made it through the ramp up period, so I'm willing to cover $15 of the operating expenses out of my pocket. So if you drop to $20 in your share of operating expense, you stay at a 35% revenue split. If you continue covering all the operating expenses, I'll just take our team cut out of the deal, and we just get 20%. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that very well. I felt like it was a little clunky. Who needs me? Wave at me if you need me to re-explain that. No? Okay. Maybe it was more clear than it sounded in my head. All right. All these things are the same. So all these things are the same. This is what leads beyond 6 months might look like. So if you continue spending $35 beyond your first 6 months, $35 per lead, you're getting 3 or 4 deals a month. Because you're continuing to spend more, your referral split back to me drops to 20%, and your net revenue on 3 closings would be around $25,000. If you want to save the monthly investment and keep a higher revenue split with me, your partner, then your monthly investment would drop to $20 a lead, so about $2,000 a month. You'd still be getting your 3 deals a month. I would be keeping a higher percentage of the revenue that we create. So your net revenue on 3 deals would be about $21,000. So the question is, do I want Bruce to get more of the deals and me have a lower cost, more of the deal and me have a lower cost? Or do I want Bruce and his team to get less of the deal and me maintain, kind of cover all of the operating expenses? Lou, what's up?
Yeah, there's a question about investors. What does the split look like for investors?
Yeah, split for investors is 1% of your deal, with a minimum. Let me just kind of share this. This $35 that it's costing me to operate and kind of cover each lead in my system. It does not cover my team bonuses. So I bonus my ISAs for every lead that they generate. I bonus my ISAs for every closing. I bonus my success managers significantly because success managers are co-working your leads with you to hand off to you. I bonus them significantly. I actually bonus my marketing team as well. So I end up spending an average of $1,250 just in bonuses that's not covered in the 35, but those bonuses don't happen until closings happen. I'm not giving that money away until we get a closing. So because I have to do that, an investor that is buying or wholesaling their own deal, I take 1% of the price instead of 35% of the total revenue, 1% of the price, with a minimum. I've got to make sure that we're covering $2,500 minimum on a deal. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So question from Kate. Can you set this up and then leave and keep the systems? Short answer, yep. You can. I'll tell you guys what I am looking for. I am looking for permanent, forever partners. I would like permanent, forever partners. Once somebody comes in and you're getting really good cash flow, I want to be your partner. I'm not going to force that on you. So you could come in, we could get the system running. If you are simultaneously kind of hiring, building out some resources that look a lot like ours together. If you are hiring an ISA and they're picking up some calls and you're just sort of building things and getting ready to press go, and in 6 months you say, hey, Bruce, I'm going to leave. I'm going to press go on my own system. You can do that. I'm not going to stop you. If somebody else in your market came along and said, hey, I want to be a partner, I would take that partner on. Okay, so once I'm your partner in your market, I'm not going to take another partner on in your market to work the same leads against you. And I want our partnership to be long term. So if you're not a partner, I can bring on another partner and we'll run a model that might look something like yours. What you can't do if you build it on your own is you can't use my exact resources packages. You cannot use our estate aid network name. So estate aid network, we're building it to have its own name, and only our partners are going to be able to use that. But for sure, yep, you could partner, you could leave. I'm not going to badmouth you or anything. I want people to be successful. Alternatively, if somebody wants to come in and they want the system, they want to build it on their own, you can jump into our coaching. We can teach you how to build the system. You can get our templates. They're templates that we're not actively using in our business, but they're similar. You can get those systems. You can get those templates. You can jump in the coaching and the role play and learn to hire your ISAs and train them and learn the process and run it on your own. No problem. I'm not here to stop people from running it on their own. I'm a trainer and educator first, I believe. But I have recognized over the past several years in coaching this system that most people don't do. I've had tons of agents and investors jump into coaching, and they've learned a lot and they've given raving reviews, and some have gone on to do 10, 15, 20 deals a month. Most have not. The overwhelming majority have put one or two systems, one or two pieces in place. They're getting their deal or two a month, and then they don't implement the rest. And as a coach, I just see so much opportunity. And I know that someone is going to be able to do this in their market. So I figured I'd just take on partners and help them get up to these numbers in their market with my system. All right. So kind of what are your options if you guys want to run something similar to this, or even path one where you're spending less money, you're not spending a bunch of money on systems? What are your options? Probate Mastery. Most of you guys have already taken Probate Mastery at $697. I'm continuing to add lessons into Probate Mastery that teach you how to do this yourself. You don't get the one-on-one or the group practice and role play with Probate Mastery, but you can learn and implement a lot of these same things yourself in Probate Mastery. And continuing to add templates and things in there for resources packages and mailers and training for phone calls and things like that. So if you haven't taken Probate Mastery, please do. 697 will essentially teach you the basics of the model, but it's also going to give you all the other options, all the other different ways of running your business. Again, all of them are beneficial. There are no necessarily wrong answers in the probate business, but you have to be an implementer. You have to do. You can't think about doing. You can't get frozen second guessing yourself. You have to put something out there and just do it. And if it doesn't work, you make an adjustment. So Probate Mastery, if you want coaching where I actually coach you through and help you build out the system yourself, we're at 10,000. It can be broken into payments. I want people to be in coaching for minimum 6 months. I'm not going to charge you more if you go past 6 months. It's lifetime in our coaching program. But this is where you get Probate Mastery 2.0 with additional lessons. You learn how to hire your ISAs, how to train your ISAs, where to hire, how to bonus, how to pay. You build your resources packages out. You get boxes or envelopes. You put multiple pieces together. You just get really good at the business. So it's 10,000, and again, it can be broken into monthly payments, but it's going to take 6 months for you guys to kind of build all the ins and outs, for the average person to build all the ins and outs of the system together. We are doing 8 weekly coaching calls. So for partners, they get all the coaching, and we just do everything for them. So it's $35 per lead that you want to co-work in your market, 35% referral fee during the first 6 months. So 35 during the first 6 months. After that, you have a choice. Do I continue paying $35 a lead and have a referral or revenue split where Bruce and his team just get 20%? Or do I drop my lead cost to $20 and keep a $35% revenue split? All right. If anyone does want, and I'm going to open it up to questions. If anyone does want a kind of a private discovery call with one of our success managers, again, these are all people that are actively co-working the business with you in your market to help heat up and generate leads. There's a discovery call link here, and they can actually show you where our $35 goes. Let me give you guys kind of a brief rundown on where the $35 goes. So first, I overpay good ISAs, I underpay bad ISAs. So I set it up to where when we hire an ISA, they're not making a whole lot as a base, but they are making a whole lot if they generate quality leads. So I am bonusing them on every quality lead that comes in. And a good ISA that's performing really well and turning 20 or 30% of your list into a lead for you, an offshore ISA that you guys might pay $5 an hour to, I'm paying them $3,000 a month if they're generating a lot of leads. Okay. My average ISA has enough time to call all the leads 20 times in a month and cover 3 markets for the average ISA. I just want you guys to know that. So I'm paying that to the ISAs. I'm paying that for the leads. I'm buying leads. I'm scrubbing leads to kick out anyone that doesn't have real estate. I'm building call lists. I'm actually in your market. We are in your market calling and building your vendor team out. So we're calling and getting you attorney appointments. We're calling and getting you estate sale companies, financial advisors, accountants, locksmiths, dumpster people. We're basically building your team with you. We're doing 2 videos per month with you guys, basically talking through the probate process, promoting you as a business owner in the area that you can put on your channels, but we're going to put it on our channels as well. We are calling the leads, of course. We're cold mailing the leads, anyone that hasn't engaged. And then we're spending about, for every lead that comes into the system as a warm pipeline lead, conversation has been had and they're open to future engagement with a real estate need. We're spending about $40 per lead sending resources packages, plural packages. So those packages are minimum 27 pages 27 pages walking through the probate process. An example of what they do, I had an appointment a couple of months ago, and I've mentioned this on a number of occasions, so this isn't a new one. But a couple of months ago, I went on an appointment with someone who told my ISA, going to sell the house. I already have a realtor. And the ISA, this is a great question that I teach you guys and we practice. Um, the ISA said, okay, no problem. You guys have already listed? No, we haven't listed yet. Okay, well, we don't want to step on any toes, he said. If we were to bring you an offer, would you want us to bring it to you or would you want us to bring it to your agent? Well, nobody in their right mind would say, take an offer to my agent that I'm not even listed with yet. Now, in our partnership program, we actually have a way where you guys can generate up to 12 cash offers on any property that you're going to. This is new. 12 cash offers on any property that you're going to, and you can take them on your appointments. And they're real cash offers from funds that buy houses at a good price. They're not 50-50. They're not trying to buy the house at 50 cents on the dollar. They average 85 cents on the dollar. And so you can go in and say, if I was going to bring you an offer, would I bring that to you or take that to your agent? So this guy says, bring it to me. So I go to the house. I sent the package ahead of time. I go to the house. We talk for 5 minutes in the driveway, just chit chat, weather, acorns in the yard, stuff like that. And then I said, well, why don't you show me the house? And we get into the foyer, technically into the garage. And I turned around and I said, oh, by the way, Andrew mentioned that you were probably going to list with so-and-so. And he said, well, I was, but after I got your package, I think I'm just going to list with you. No pitch necessary. No pitch necessary. Based on the package, he changed his mind. So that's the idea behind giving people quality, valuable resources, is separate you from anyone else that's out there. And I'm willing to spend serious buku money on packages to people that we've engaged with that have real estate that have said, yes, send me the package. All right. Go for it, Lou.
Yeah, there was a question earlier regarding pre-probates. Do you also track pre-probates?
No.
No.
Nope. And it's not that I'm against pre-probate. So I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. There's no wrong answer on how you run your business. I had a choice. Do I do probate or do I do pre-probate or do I do both? And the choice that I made was we're going to do probate. If I was running a model to do pre-probate, I'd probably have to tweak it a little bit, and it's just not a system that I personally want to run. You can do pre-probate and be very successful, but we don't with the partnership. Yep. Anything else? Anybody else? We're a little bit over. I appreciate you guys staying. Something to reiterate, if we have a partner in a market, market's closed. Not every partner takes on their whole market though. So if a market is, let's say it gets 150 leads a month and someone goes, Bruce, that's $4,700 a month. I can't do that. You could do half. You could do a third. You could do a quarter, 2/3, but it would leave the other portion open for somebody else. And if nobody else came in, then you could always expand in the future. Right. Minimum number of leads? No, there's not. I will tell you that as we get under 60 leads in a month in a market, the cost of getting those leads starts to go up. So most of the time where I get leads from, most of them won't let me buy a partial county. So if you're in a county where there's 200 leads and you go, hey, I only want 50, I'm probably going to get forced to buy 200. So the cost may go up a little bit from $35 if the market is 20. So I've basically in my $35, I've budgeted about $4.50 for leads. And if it turns out that the cost of getting leads there is $8, probably going to have to pop that $35 a lead up a little bit to cover some of the cost of just buying data. So it makes most sense in markets over 50. If you've got a market of 20, no problem, not a problem. It may not be $35 a lead though. We've been as high as $40 a lead in a few smaller markets. for folks that have VAs that are getting your leads, as long as they have good phone numbers. As long as they have good phone numbers, you could turn them over to me, and I'd give you a credit to offset. That's money I don't have to spend on buying leads. Again, I would rather buy leads through my systems, not because they're better, not because I have allegiance to those lead companies and systems, but because it's just easier for my team to step into my account and pull leads and download lists without having to remember 18 different logins for different partners. But we can absolutely um, use leads that you have as long as the leads are good and there's good phone numbers. That's the bottom line. I've got one lead company where a lot of people were coming to me with this lead company, and I was taking it on, and then we realized that 30 or 40% of the leads don't have an accurate phone number, and it just doesn't make sense to keep working my system when the phone numbers are bad, because I don't have the best skip tracing. I prefer to go to lead sources that have already done the skip tracing for us and accurately. What other questions do you guys have? You guys can unmute if you want.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim. Jim's
How's it going, guys? Hey, missed you. I've
I've
been,
been missing you too.
yeah, I'm back though.
Good. What's going on?
So I had a question. You're aware I've been using all the leads and appointments today for over a year.
Yep.
And I've got some good data to look at now,
Mm-hmm.
and the numbers I'm seeing aren't as good as the numbers you're advertising. And so I'm very much interested in considering this partnership program. What about all the leads that I've already purchased, I have in my system?
Mm-hmm.
Are those still valuable if we
Those
have
are
a
valuable to
partnership to do
you.
like a bulk import or something?
We could probably do a bulk import. Those are really valuable to you. I kind of like my ISAs just to really spend their time during that first month of probate. Are they still valuable? Yeah, it's one of those things where I would be, in some cases, and yours, I'd be willing to do a month or a couple of months where we go through old data. I
Yeah,
don't think they're as valuable as people that have filed this month, though. So
true.
our
Yeah,
our process is heavily built on, hey, we just applied for probate. But there could be some deals in there and in some of that old data that you have. And I want to
right.
be really clear, guys. There's a little bit of projection that I'm using when I give some of the numbers, just a little bit. So let me tell everyone where the data that I have came from, where my numbers came from. Our partnership has soft launched for 2-ish months. Okay. First month of that 2-month period was a lot of ironing wrinkles out. Even this last month, we're still ironing some wrinkles out. There's just fewer and fewer wrinkles in the process. 2 years ago, I started coaching, and a lot of you guys saw coaching. I mean, I've been running Probate Mastery, and I've been coaching in general anyway. But 2 years ago, I started a specific coaching program where we started building models that look a lot like I have today. And I probably coached 50 or 60 people through those models. I've had 3 or 4 that implemented almost every aspect of the system and were over 8 deals a month. In some cases, 20. Okay. So 3, 4 people have fully implemented and gone 8+ deals per month. And I'm not talking about covering dozens of counties, normally 1 or 2 counties that they were covering to get that number of deals. I've had a bunch of people that implemented bits and pieces here and there, and then a whole bunch of people that paid money for coaching and didn't implement a damn thing. Nothing. And it just crushes my soul when people don't implement. And about a dozen times I've had people say, Bruce, you're saying this works. Why aren't you doing it? I like coaching it. I would prefer to build it with other people. So I ran a challenge 4 or 5 months ago. It feels like 4 or 5 months ago, somewhere around there. I ran a challenge where I said, hey, I'm not working this business in my market. I had coaching folks that were in, and I said, let's build the business simultaneously. I'll show you what I'm doing, and I want you guys to do it with me. And after 2 months, my business was built. The systems were in place. They still needed to be tweaked and ironed out, but the core components of the system were in place. And the people that were building it with me, most of them hadn't built the systems yet. So here I've got the system running. I've got ISAs trained. I've got the CRMs. I've got the dialers. I've got the letters. I've got the resources packages. I have the lists. Many of them hadn't done it yet. Not all. If you're on here and you were in that group, this is no criticism of you. I just know agents get busy, investors get busy. So at that point, I was like, what if I just did this with you guys? And then I severely underpriced it and I almost went broke. So we figured out how much it actually cost to run. And that's where we are now. Of the partners that we brought on, and we've had fully live for several of them a little over a month, we are not in closings yet. We are not in closings. So I want to be extremely clear that when I say that you'll get 3 or 4 closings out of this, those are based on the handful of people that I coached to build a system and actually built the system. Those handful of folks that I coached that actually built what we're doing now, they typically get about 30% of their list into their pipeline. They re-engage with 40 to 50% of that pipeline. So if they've got 100 leads, they're putting 25 or 30 in their pipeline. They're getting re-engagement with 12 to 15 that they're having really good relationships with. And then they're normally converting 30, 40% of those into a deal. So they're getting their 5 deals on 100 leads. Okay, that's where my numbers are coming from. It's not thousands of people that I've done this with. It's thousands of people, hundreds of people that I've coached on the process, 3 or 4 that fully implemented. Everybody else that's not getting numbers like that might be getting a deal every month or 2, most of them have just not fully implemented yet. And that's where the numbers are coming from. So I don't want to say, hey, we've been running this for a year, and here are my results. Everybody's getting 5 deals a month. I know that there's 4 or 5% conversion out of these leads because I've coached people that are getting 4 or 5% conversion. One guy's making $1 million a month as an investor/realtor in a market. $1 million a month as an investor/realtor. He tries to buy the house first. One agent is at 200,000, 150, 200,000 per month in revenue on a system like this. So, and then there's a whole bunch of people that just got started in the last month, and we've had live in the last month, and they haven't closed deals yet, but we're getting leads for them. All right, and we are significantly over time. So if you guys have any questions, please pop them up now. Okay. If anyone is interested, there is a discovery call link that Lou just put into chat. So Lou, pop it into chat again, just so it's fresh on people's screens. If somebody wants to take a picture, you don't want to look at chat, please take a picture of the bottom of what's on my screen here. That's the discovery call link. It can't be copied, and it's a whole lot to remember and try to type in. But Lou did just put it into the Zoom chat if you want to just click on that and book a discovery call. If you do, they're going to show you more of what I showed you today, but it's a good opportunity to ask clarifying questions. If you're in a market and you don't know how many leads you're getting in your market, you can call. We can hunt down the number of leads in a market and give you a custom quote on what it would be. Bottom line is this is legitimately, we are partners. Rather than splitting everything 50-50, we're splitting it 65-35. So I'm looking for people that I can be their business partner. Go for it, Lou.
Yeah, so there's a question about this video recording. When will it be available? When will it be uploaded?
Customarily by tomorrow afternoon. Normally, sometimes it takes Princess an extra day to get it onto our YouTube channel. It's just one of the weekly group coaching calls.
Great. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Really appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much.
Happy New Year to everybody as
Happy
well.
New Year.